Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
This is the Closing Bell on the Stock Movers Report. The companies making moves at the close of U.S. trading with Carol Massar, Tim Stenovec, Romaine Bostick, and Scarlett Fu.
All right, let's get to the S&P 500. Folks, it's up 7 days in a row. As Romaine was pointing out, it's up about 2% in those 7 days. Katie, if I look at the trade, though, you had about half higher, half lower. So it's not like everybody was enjoying the move up to another record close on the S&P 500.
It was slightly better if you take a look at it through the lens, through sectors. You had 7 sectors in the green, just 4 in the red. What was leading the charge? Who other than information technology, up about 0.6% as a whole. Consumer discretionary also punching above its weight. So too did communication services.
Technology?
I don't know. I always feel like I'm saying its formal name, its government name. That's just what the terminal tells
Just call it IT.
IT. Yeah, there you go.
That feels so outdated. It's like communication services. What's that?
I couldn't tell you. But tech, information tech leading gains there. I will just point out healthcare having a bad day. It's been an interesting sector as of late, but right now interesting to the downside.
Healthcare. Now that's a name that's timeless, right?
Oh, yeah. I know exactly what that is.
We don't just call that HC. We have to call it healthcare. All right, let's go to some of the individual gainers. I mentioned semiconductor outperformance, the stocks outperforming. Thank you, AMD. We know the story. You guys have spent a lot of time talking about it. It's been really our big business story here on this Monday. AMD shares up as much as 37% at their highs today, finishing with a gain of just shy of 24%. I mean, holy moly, Batman, the AI rally and the chip grab, it is on in a big way. We've spent a lot of time just trying to figure out the spend, the companies that are working together. I mean, does it all play out? Will the revenues ultimately be there? And I feel like, I guess time will tell. But anyway, AMD, top gainer in the S&P and NDX. That deal with OpenAI for AI infrastructure could generate tens of billions of dollars in new revenue.
That brought back a lot of memories. Like when I would get off school as a kid and you watch the old reruns of like the original
Holy
Batman,
moly, right?
Burt Ward and Adam West.
I know. It was iconic, right?
It was. Absolutely.
Right. Good stuff, good stuff.
Great memories.
Tim and Katie have no idea.
Yeah, they're like, who, what, where, and
I'm
when.
reminiscing.
All right, let's get to another big gainer in today's session. I don't know if you guys checked out critical metals today. Ticker CRML at its highs, up 109%, finishing with a gain of 45%. This after Reuters reported the Trump administration officials have discussed taking a stake in the metal mining company. If finalized, deal would give the U.S. government a direct investment in the largest rare earths project in Greenland, again, according to the Reuters report. So again, this is a theme we've seen about the U.S. government taking potentially ownership stakes in various companies that they deem important to U.S. security. And then Comerica, we had a big bank deal. Let's not forget that. Fifth Third Bancorp agreeing to buy Comerica for about $10.9 billion in stock. It would be the largest U.S. bank deal this year. We've seen several bank deals happening. And again, Comerica, Tim, up about 14% in today's session.
All right, well, let's talk about some notable decliners in the S&P 500 today. Among the worst performers on a percentage basis was Verizon, ticker VZ. Actually, shares closing the worst one-day drop, I should say, going back to April of this year. So some surprise news from the C-suite. Hans Vestberg out after, 8 years as CEO, since 2018, so 7 years as CEO. Former PayPal CEO Dan Schulman coming in as CEO, replacing Hans Vestberg. Vestberg will stick in the role of advisor to the company for the next year. He's going to help ensure a smooth transition, including the integration with Frontier Communications. That purchase went through of late. Verizon has been losing subscribers and market share. It did shed 51,000 monthly mobile customers in the second quarter. Schulman, actually, he's known for eBay and PayPal, but he also had experience at AT&T. Virgin Mobile, like more than 20 years ago. He was the founder of that company, and he was there for 10 years. And then he was at Nextel Sprint. So he's got some experience in the communications space. Once again, shares down 5.1%.
It's called street cred.
Street cred. I always thought of him as a Silicon Valley guy. That's kind of like when he got on my radar, and a payments guy. But so it's interesting that this is, and he's been on the board for years too. Fifth Third Bank finishing down 1.4%. Carol talked about the increase in Comerica's session today. Fifth Third, the acquirer, shedding 1.4% today. This after it announced a deal for about $10.9 billion in stock. It is the largest U.S. bank deal this year. We're going to be speaking with Herman Chan about this in just a few minutes. And then a late-breaking edition.
Spoke with him.
You did. I saw him on your air.
It was really good.
Was it good?
Yeah.
Thanks for warming him up for us.
We did sort of like a whole hour on AMD, OpenAI, everything happening with sort of the Nvidia and the AI trade today. Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, we almost did too.
You almost did. Not quite. This was a late edition. AppLovin shares falling 14%. They cratered right at 3:41 p.m. Wall Street time today. This was after Bloomberg News reported that the SEC has been probing AppLovin's data collection practices, specifically allegations that the company violated platform partners' service agreements to push more targeted advertising to consumers. AppLovin declined to comment on the probe, saying it regularly engages with regulators and would disclose any material developments through public channels. The SEC didn't comment due to a shutdown.
All right, just real quickly, let's take a look at yields. We're going to look at Treasury yields here in the U.S. You did see the move higher across the curve, with the longer end of the curve seeing the most action. But we should point out, this was actually a global phenomenon. Remember, we had a lot of developments over the weekend, including the extension of that government shutdown here in the U.S., a government in France that lasted, less than the lifespan of a mayfly. And then, of course, you have potentially a new prime minister in Japan that is expected to also put some downward pressure on bond prices over there here. So globally, you saw a little bit of a sell-off when it comes to sovereign debt.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.